Well, happy St. Patty's Day. Yay! I thought it would be kind of fun, first of all, as before we get into the meat of our topic, to talk about what is St. Patty's Day. How many of you know the history of it, where it came from, what it's all about? It actually celebrates a Roman Catholic feast of the day of the patron saint of Ireland, St. Patrick, who died on March 17th, 461. He was born in Roman Britain. He was kidnapped into slavery and brought to Ireland. He's not Irish. He escaped to a monastery in France and converted to Christianity. He went back to Ireland in 432 as a missionary. The significance of the shamrock in the Irish way is the fact that, according to legend, St. Patrick used the three-leaf clover, or the shamrock, to explain the Trinity. 18th century Irish soldiers who fought in the Revolutionary War held the first St. Patrick's Day parades. The celebrations became a way for the Irish to connect with their roots after they moved to America. Corned beef and cabbage is an Irish-American dish. Irish Americans were so poor they could not afford certain meals, so on St. Patrick's Day, the best meal they could afford was beef and cabbage. It became a staple for the holiday. So I don't know, I just thought that was kind of fun little tidbits about why we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So however you're going to celebrate today, I don't know if you're going to go buy some green beer or how that works. I don't think we're going to dye any rivers or any streams around here. Like they
giving it a Eucharist?
No. Okay. So this month, as was introduced in our the first song that we had for the musicians, this month we are focusing in on Alan Cohen's book, A Course in Miracles Made Easy, which really got my attention, because A Course in Miracles that I've tried to read a time and two and three and four again wasn't anything but easy. I'll tell you that right now. And so the Course says that health is the result of relinquishing all attempts to use the body lovelessly. This is a quote from the Course. Let's say it again. Health is the result of relinquishing all attempts to use the body lovelessly. You have to stop and absorb it. Just the way the wording is, just the way that it's presented, you know? And so to me, it's kind of convoluted. I mean, wouldn't it just be easier to say, health is the result of loving your body? Yeah. But it makes you recognize that, what am I doing? What am I doing to my body? How am I sabotaging my body if I am experiencing anything other than perfect health? What am I doing? First of all, awareness, the very first thing. I've got to be aware that obviously I am doing something lovelessly, which when I typed that out, it had a red squiggle to it. I don't think it's a word, but whatever. We all get the idea. When we're treating our body lovelessly. And it reminded me initially of course, Louise Hay's work of loving yourself. Loving yourself. That's what it's about. And how do we do this? You know, many times we were talking about it in our class. We sabotage ourselves many times. And we have these good intentions, going to the gym, of eating right, of doing this, you know, the exercise, the whole thing. Somebody said, even this morning, somebody said, yes, eventually we're going to have to exercise. And so why do we do this to ourselves? I think a lot of this human experience is based on habits. We get into a habit, and then we set this groove, you know, we get down into this rut of this habit. And like, say, for instance, foods, you know, a piece of chocolate is really good. And then what happens? Well, 1 piece is good. What about, yeah, somebody said 10. I was just going to say 3 or 4.
Are you talking almonds or coffee beans?
I'm talking whatever floats your boat, honey. See, dark chocolate's not my thing, but I know it is for a lot of people. Of course, a lot of people say, oh, but it's healthy for you. Yeah, it's good for you. Again, how many of them are you eating at a time is the thing, you know. And then, you know, what do we do as far as our body goes, as far as moving it? You know, many of the, I don't ever go to the gym. I'm not a gym person, but I love to walk. In fact, you see my Fitbit, I've got the green on today. I bought this packet that has 10 different colors of the bands in it. So the green is the day today, of course. And so I love to walk. You know, I try to get my 10,000 steps in a day. And this is a habit that I'm trying to create, to keep up with. And it's so much better now that the time has changed and I can go walking after work. It's a delight. So yesterday, I put my Fitbit on and I put my visor on. It was so beautiful. After all this rain and this cold, it feels so good to have some warmth, you know? And so I thought, you know, I've got to pick up a picture. Do you know you can get an app on your phone that will check, you know how you have your photos on your phone? You can just check which ones, and then you can go down to CVS or Target, and they'll print them for you. You can get a 4x6 print, color print, for 36 cents.
Wow.
I mean, that is so nice to have. So anyway, because I'm gathering pictures of my granddaughter, of course, and Adeline is just 11 months old now. Anyway, so I thought, I'm going to walk down to CVS to get my picture. And as I'm walking, I'm like, what is all this? And you know, when something's blowing in the air, you think that it's leaves or something. And then when I finally stopped, I thought, no, they're not leaves, those are butterflies. At first, I thought they were monarchs because they had the same coloring as a monarch. Then I found out later that they're painted ladies. And they're migrating north, and they were surely going north. And they've been doing it now for a few days, and they will continue to, because there's over 1 million of them.
Yes.
Going up to Oregon and beyond. Oh my gosh. And the reason I'm telling you this is because no matter what it is you're doing, if you are aware of what's going on at the moment, whatever it is, you can be grateful for it. You see, when I walk, I don't have I don't listen to anything, I don't talk on my phone. I am just there to be part of the environment of whatever it is I'm doing, whatever's there. And really working at not being judgmental about what's going on. You know, I think that really helps us. If we can create that type of a habit, of living this immersed life, but detached from the outcome. Waiting and seeing and allowing Spirit to give us the gifts of that moment. I see somebody's face here that when we were talking in class about what are your intentions, my intention is just to go with the flow. That's what it is. It's just as simple as that. And so I think for a lot of us, if we could get more into that mode, life would be easier. Life would be happier. The Course says, the only purpose of the body is to magnify the presence of love in the world. The only purpose of the body is to magnify the presence of love in the world. And it talks about Jesus the Christ, was that healer, that individual whose consciousness was so filled with this oneness of the one, the Father and I are one, that he was able to see more of what the truth is for another individual than what they could see for themselves. And that's why he was a healer. It reminds me of when we're in our Science of Mind classes and we're talking about treatment. And we're talking about what a practitioner does. A practitioner is one who treats or knows for the other person their wholeness, their truth, when the other person might not be so aware of it. That's what we're here to do, is to uplift each other. We know, as a practitioner, that our word has authority, just as Jesus the Christ knew that his word had authority, and what he spoke is the truth, and this cannot be denied. That's what all of us have the ability to do, that. To speak our truth, that I am whole, I am healthy, I am wealthy, and I am wise. Accept that for yourself. One of the first things, of course, in order to experience something in the physical form, is that we have to own it, we have to be it in consciousness. It starts on the inside and then goes out. And so we have to increase our awareness internally that, guess what? I'm living in the kingdom. It's here. What's your kingdom like? Make it grand, make it glorious, make it the best ever, make it wonderful. Because that's what we're in. Allow yourself to experience it. If we don't have enough, it's because we believe we are not enough. Ooh. That is so true. And it might be a wake-up call. I am enough. I have enough. I allow myself to know that I am wise as well in accepting this wholeness that I am. Again, as in everything in life, I believe that our finances are driven by habits. We talked about eating and different foods and the habits you have in eating. Finances are the same thing. I was so struck yesterday when I finally sat down for the third time to organize all my paperwork for my taxes. You know, I don't do them, but I mean, you have to give everything together. You have to count everything up and give it to the person that does it. And I was amazed when I went to look at the totals that I put 14% of my income last year into my 401k, and I tithed 13%. Now, I didn't do that by any other means than habit. I automatically had money putting into the 401k. I didn't think about it. And I don't think about when I write a tithe check. I just do it. It's a habit. And those positive habits support us in the end. I told you that I'm quitting my day job at the end of this year. I had my final meeting with last of my financial advisors this last week. And I was shocked to learn that if I total everything up, I'm going to be making more money after I retire than when I'm working. Wow, yay. And you know what I say? Good for us. I am not trying to make myself an exception here. I'm just saying that we all have this ability to honor ourselves, to make it a habit to spend our money and to save our money and to use our money wisely. And we absolutely know when we're not. Because that little ego voice, I wish I probably should, maybe I'll do that. I think I'm going to take another month to do this book because there's just some juicy stuff in it. And because I can't, I just do a chapter a week, and there's some great stuff in here. One of the things I was just perusing through was the fact of distinguishing, knowing the voices between the ego voice and your still small voice. Knowing the difference of them, which one is speaking to you at the time. And it's very simple. The one that's speaking to you of fear and limitation and holding your breath, well, that's the ego. The one that's speaking to you of love, of generosity, of happiness, of knowing that you are worthy, that you're enough, that's your still small voice. Yay. I'm going to give you a little update. So I told you that my book is written. Did I tell you that? I've written a book. It's a children's book. I wrote it in 45 minutes. Well, it's a song, actually. I started it as a song. It's written. It's over to my nephew who's doing the illustrations for it. I mean, it's only 6 pages. It's a small child's book. But I am so eager to have this in production that I looked up copyrights yesterday. I mean, just one thing after another. I'm just trying to check off the list. May 23rd is my half birthday. November 23rd is my whole birthday. And you're all invited. I'm having a party. I hope my sister's house is big enough. So I'm turning 70, I'm retiring, and I'm going to have a book signing. Woohoo! So I'm offering this because I'm not the only one that has these wonderful, wonderful goals, these wonderful intentions, these wonderful things that I'm going to do this. Well, then do it. Don't hold yourself back. Prepare yourself for this life that we are here to live. One day at a time, moment by moment. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Do what you can do today. You know the description of the of being humanity. The description of being human, humanity, is to be a distribution point of our spiritual gifts. That's why we're here, is to distribute, to give what we have in our gifts out to everyone. So I was going to read you. I have, I told you I'd read about 5 or 6 things every morning. You know those things. And by the way, if you didn't get yours last week, we still have more of the feast and fasting and feasting Lenten books from the Unity publication that's back there. They're daily reads, and they're great. Well, this is one of the ones that I read all the time. It's daily guideposts. And I wanted to share with you the one that was from March 14th. It was written by Debbie Macomber. How many of you know who Debbie Macomber is? I see a head shaking. She's an author. Yes. She is a very well-known, very established author. She writes romance novels, and many of the movies that I see on Hallmark are her productions, what she writes. So this is what she wrote. First, it starts off with a quote from Luke. "From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded, and from the one trusted with much, much more will be expected." She says, "My parents were generous people. They were raised during the Great Depression and knew the power of giving, which they passed along to me. It became important that I, too, be an example to my children and grandchildren. Over the years, I've practiced this in several different ways. When my grandchildren were young and celebrating a birthday, instead of purchasing them another toy or gift they didn't need, I let them choose a gift for a child in a third world country. Many organizations have catalogs, and I loved the way my grandchildren mulled over the pages in search of a perfect gift. As a result, children around the world have a barnyard of chickens, a goat, and even a camel, all of which have deeply enriched their lives as well as those of my grandchildren. Recently, I decided to use my grandchildren's birthdays as occasions to sponsor a child for a year. And not just a random child, but a child born the same day. This way, the grandkids will be able to form relationships with those children, exchange letters with them, and become involved in their lives. My hope is that this impresses upon my grandchildren how blessed they are, and that they come to realize that with these blessings come responsibilities. We have been given much, and much from us. So we have been given much, and from us much is expected. Father, we are generous because you have given us so much. Help us always to remember that. We recognize that there is a oneness in this power that is distributed perfectly and individually through all of us. And I loved hearing the story of going to India and the service, the sacred service that we all can give. Have your eyes and your ears open to recognizing, oh my gosh, how truly blessed I am. How much can I give of these blessings to others? How can I be a blessing this day? I wanted to end with a song that I've changed the words to just a little bit. And it's something that I do most of the time when I do a wedding, which I'm going to do one again, yay! Just had a meeting with a couple on Friday, and many times this is a surprise, but then if you've come to my weddings, you'll know that I'm probably going to do this. So this is for you today. Ooh, may you have love and joy and laughter. May you have shelter from every storm. May your strength and bonding ever grow. May you live in peace with grace untold, and until this life is o'er, until this life is o'er, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Namaste.